Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this UCL Virtual Open Day, which is for our Politics, Sociology and East European Studies BA degree. My name's Lisa. I look after admissions for UCL SSEES, and I'm joined by Katerina, who was also from the admissions team, and Dr. Seán Hanley, who's Associate Professor in Comparative Central and East European Politics, and also the admissions tutor for the Politics and Sociology degrees. We're also joined by Diani, who's a current third year and final year student on this programme, and we will be very happy to answer any of your questions. But first, Dr. Hanley is going to give you a brief kind of overview of what we offer in this subject area. So over to you, Seán.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. I'm Seán Hanley, and I lecture in East European politics, a few other things like democracy and related topics. And I'm going to give a kind of just a brief overview of the two BA degrees we offer in politics and sociology, and talk mainly about the school department and the degrees, and then Lisa will come in to deal with any admissions related issues you might have. So I do have some slides which I'm going to try and show you, and I'm going to talk for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then there'll be lots of time for your questions. So I'm going to, if I can just work out how to, oh my God, hang on. If I can just work out how to share the screen. Yeah, here we go. Mm, mm. Okay, so you should be seeing some slides now. This is me. This is our opening slide, and this is the UCL quad building. Our department, the UCL School of Slavonic and East European Studies, is probably the largest center for studying Russia, the former Soviet Union, Central and Eastern Europe, Southeastern Europe, which is often called the Balkans, in the UK. We're a department which we teach in politics and sociology, but we also teach in economics, culture, languages, anthropology, and all with a kind of East European, Central European flavor. And I'm going to talk about the politics and sociology that we teach, and specifically the two BA degrees that we offer. We offer a 3-year degree, politics and sociology with East European studies, or a 4-year version of the same degree, politics and sociology with East European studies with a year abroad. And in that case, you would, in your 3rd year, you would spend a year studying at a partner institution in Central and Eastern Europe, and you would be taught in English. You'd have the option of studying in the local language if you happen to speak it. And we have links with universities in Czech Republic, Estonia, Finland, Hungary, Poland, and also Germany. The exact lineup has varied over the years according to kind of changing kind of geopolitical circumstances, particularly the war in Ukraine, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. SSEES is a good place to study Central and Eastern Europe and Russia, but it's also a really good place to study some of the really big questions in politics and society, sociology, why democracies succeed and fail. Eastern Europe has, in the past 20 years, embarked upon democratic experiments. Some countries have done much better than others. Some have moved into authoritarianism, some haven't. Societies in our region also vary a lot in terms of inequality. In the same part of the world with similar kinds of historical backgrounds, in some ways, we have societies which are some of the most unequal on the planet, but also some of the most equal. And of course, we can address questions of security and conflict, like why do wars start, why do they end, how do they end, and we can do this. You can do this, tackle these big questions in a concrete way by looking at a real place, a specific place, real societies, real people, rather than doing so in a more kind of abstract and theoretical way. So our degree will enable you to address big issues by doing a kind of engaging and sort of diving into a particular region. We are officially a department, but we're really an unusual department. We're big. We have our own building. We also have our own library, the SSEES Library, which has specialist collections on our region, including foreign language books, but also a really good collection on politics and sociology. And we have our own dedicated, in both senses of the word, librarians who work there. So on the slide there, you can see our building, and roughly half of that building, I would say, is our library. And what that reflects is that SSEES isn't just another department. Many years ago, it was an independent college, part of something called the University of London, which doesn't really exist anymore. And we still sort of in some ways have the sort of size and the culture of a smaller, I guess you could say, college. So it's a sort of best of both worlds situation. You'd be part of a large institution, but you'd be also part of a department with a distinct identity and quite a lot of resources. As well as just teaching, which I'll talk about in a moment, we have a lot of events. We have academic events, but we also have more kind of current affairs focused events about what's going on in Russia, former Soviet Union, Ukraine, Southeastern Europe. We have something called the Post-Soviet Press Group, which is a it's a student-led discussion group with staff input, which looks at, well, not the press anymore, but media coverage of events in our region. Obviously, there's a lot going on. And because we're in London, the kind of speakers that we have are often quite high profile. We have links with embassies, we have quite good links with think tanks, and we have speakers such as former ambassadors. We have the former British ambassador to Ukraine. We've also had the former British ambassador to Afghanistan, who had been an ambassador in Russia as well, who gave a talk last year. And our student body is pretty international. We have students from all over the world. If you do come here, you'll see that in our student common room, there's a map where we ask students to stick a pin in from where they come from. And we have students from Europe, West and East, from North America, from India, from Southeast Asia, from China, some from Latin America, pretty much from everywhere, and of course, including quite a lot of students from the UK. Oops, if I can get this to go on. Here we go. What we offer, what you would do if you took one of our BA degrees. In the first year, you would do core modules in politics and sociology. You'd have some options, both on more kind of theoretical topics and on things to do with our region, history of communism, for example. As in a lot of British BA degrees, there isn't a great deal of choice in the first year, but things open up in the second year and the third year, or the final year. Third year if you do the 3-year version, fourth year if you did the degree with a year abroad. In terms of, so by the final year, you would be basically free to choose pretty much what you wanted in terms of options, and you would do a final year project, a dissertation as well. In terms of the options we have, we've got a wide range of options, both in the social sciences kind of generally, so things like European security, and of course focused on our region, such as Russian foreign policy, or migration, or kind of diaspora communities from Eastern Europe in the UK, political thought, a mix of more general and more regional focused things. We teach through a mixture of lectures and small group classes, but of course we expect you to work independently, sometimes in groups and sometimes individually. Assessment is kind of changing at the moment. We do use exams, a variety of exams, and we also have coursework with the balance probably leaning more towards coursework as you move through the degree, although things are changing and evolving. We've got a huge number of staff, about 100 academic staff with expertise across the region, both geographically and in terms of what they teach. So we have people who cover Russia, Ukraine, Southeast Europe, Central Asia. We now have a lecturer in Central Asian politics and society as well. And topics like elections, party politics, corruption, foreign policy, international relations, migration, gender, security, inequality, and more. And another thing I should mention, and I can go into more detail about the structure of the degree if you have questions, is the fact that the options we offer, because we're multidisciplinary as a school, you have a degree of flexibility to lean into other subjects. So if you're more interested in the culture or you want a kind of cultural flavor to your degree, you can lean into courses which deal with identity and literature. If you want a more political economy flavor, you can lean into some courses on economics. And these are courses which we run in-house in our department. There are options to take modules from other UCL departments when these are available. But we ourselves offer, we teach across subject areas and disciplines. Who teaches? Well, like I've said, lots of people. I can't put everyone up. But for example, Ben Noble, who will be back from leave next year, teaches on Russian politics, author of quite a well-known book on the late Alexei Navalny, the Russian opposition leader who died in unclear circumstances in prison earlier this year. So he works on the Putin regime. Aglaya Snetkov works on the international politics of Russia, so Russia and its relationships with other parts of the world, including China, I should add. And Andrew Wilson, who's probably one of the world leading specialists on Ukrainian politics and society, author of various books, and also researches how the kind of what he calls political technology, sort of dirty tricks, if you like, that were developed to manipulate democracy in the former Soviet Union have been exported to the West. So that's a kind of flavor of the kind of people that you would be taught by. Admissions. Okay, what we're looking for. If you are taking A levels, we're looking for AAB. We don't look for specific subjects, but we do prefer to see some qualifications in the humanities, languages, history, um, that kind of thing. All social sciences, so that would be politics, sociology, maybe something like media studies. So we lean towards that, but we're not prescriptive. If you're taking International Baccalaureate, we're looking for 38 points, 17 in 3 higher level subjects with no higher level scores below 5. And in terms of British qualifications at GCSE level, we want English language at B or 6, as it is now, maths at 5 or C. And we also want personal statements. And what we really want to know is why you want to do our degree, why you would want to come here, what might interest you about Central Europe, Southeastern Europe, Russia, Ukraine, whatever you happen to be interested in. Did you read something? Did you see something? Have you been there? Have you got a family connection? That's so we want your story about why you want to come here, and those are still important. Careers. Okay. Well, UCL has a good record in terms of graduates getting into employment or further study. We've had people go into all kinds of things. Some people have gone into civil service. some people into international organizations. I know people who've done journalism, both on, on Russia and that region. But also, I know of a former student whose personal tutor I was, who became a journalist and actually covered Central Africa for many years. Public affairs, lobbying, charity sector, and also a lot of people will go into careers which aren't necessarily related to our region. So business, finance, teaching, all kinds of things. UCL has a big career service, as you'd expect for a large institution, and SSEES, School of Slavic and East European Studies, our department, has a dedicated careers person within the careers service who works with our particular graduates or soon to be graduates who have a particular kind of skill set which is of interest to certain kinds of employers. And that doesn't necessarily mean just working on our region. It can be people who maybe know about issues which are important in our region, because some issues loom larger in the study of a place like Eastern Europe, Central Europe, former Soviet Union, than they do elsewhere. Things like corruption, things like conflict, things like state building, things which are typical of a lot of countries, but not maybe West European countries, where more mainstream politics degrees still sometimes lean quite heavily. A lot of our students do postgraduate degrees, so they move on to MAs. Some stay at UCL, some go to institutions like the LSE, Oxford, Cambridge, or internationally, places like the Hertie School in Berlin, Central European University in Vienna now, Sciences Po in Paris, and so on. And the latest figures we have, which I think are from last year in terms of the average salary of graduates, and that's people who graduated about up to 18 months ago, it's about 38,000. So those are the latest figures that we have. And pretty much that's it. If you want to follow us institutionally, we are on X, we are on Instagram, we are on Blue Sky, which is the alternative to X that some people have followed. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. I don't think we're on TikTok, are we, Lisa? Or maybe
We
are
are
we?
on
We
TikTok.
are. Oh
It's run
wow.
by our students. So if you want a kind of
Okay.
glimpse into student life, TikTok
I haven't gone
needs to
there.
go.
I'm thinking of it, but I haven't quite gone there yet. But I am on Blue Sky. I'm on the others. And if you need to contact our admissions team, which would be Lisa, so a lot of admissions is done centrally at UCL, but we do have departmental admissions people like Lisa. You can the best option is to go for that email address, which is ugadmissions@sses.ucl.ac.uk. And on that point, I'll wind up, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have in a bit. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Seán.
Okay.
So if people want to start popping questions into the chat, or if you're feeling brave, feel free to put your mics and cameras on. Very nice to always see your faces and talk to you in real life. Whilst you're thinking about any questions or typing those down, I'll just hand over to Diani, who, as I mentioned, is in her final year of the Politics and Sociology with East European Studies degree. Diani, would you be able to just say a few words about your experiences so far, perhaps some kind of standout modules and what you're planning to do after you graduate, and any tips that you might have for new students?
Okay, got it. Hi guys, I'm Diani. As Lisa mentioned, I'm in my final year of the PNS course. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself to kind of give you, maybe spark any questions or give you an idea of like a typical C student kind of trajectory. So I'm from Birmingham. I did maths, economics, history for A level and philosophy for AS. And what kind of pushed me towards C's is that I knew I definitely wanted to study in London. And then obviously UCL comes to mind. And also I was really interested in the region from like my experience with it in history A level. So I applied and obviously got in, thankfully. And just side note, I want to say that studying in London, I would genuinely recommend so much. I know there's a lot of fear about how expensive it can be, but there's a lot of budgeting and a lot of support that UCL and the general student community can provide you with. And it is definitely doable, and I would really recommend it. So a little bit about what I'm doing now. I'm in my final year. I just have my dissertation left to write up, and then I'm doing a civil service internship this summer. So that's 2 months, which will hopefully lead into a grad scheme. But before the grad scheme, I'm hopefully going to LSE for my MSc Development Management Political Economy stream in September. I just need to get a high 2-1 for that. So that's the plan. And then hopefully after that, either consulting or I'd like to work for an international organization, something to do with political economy. But yeah, so that's my little story summarized. Things I'd like to say about SSEES. One of my favorite things about SSEES is that as much as I love UCL, it can be quite a really like daunting thing to go from school to such a big university and institution. I mean, we do so many subjects. I think the university holds about 40,000 students. There's like 18 libraries. It's humongous. And as incredible as that is, and the opportunities that it comes with are obviously amazing, it's a little intimidating. So it's nice to have SSEES as like a really tight-knit, small community. We have our own building, our own common room, our own library, as Sean mentioned. The staff are so supportive. The teachers are like the best in the subjects at the world. And if you're interested in the region, it's genuinely the best place to come. We have the largest collection of academic books on SSEES, apart from in SSEES, in the world. Like the resources are truly incredible. About my modules and things, again, like Sean said, there's a lot of compulsory stuff in year one to kind of help you figure out what you're interested in and guide you towards what you want to take. Piece of advice I would give is even when you're selecting your first year modules, be a little bit careful to check the prerequisites for later on in the years. For example, you can't really do European macroeconomics or like econometrics in second year if you haven't taken introduction to micro or introduction to macro in first year, which I would also really recommend because I kind of lean towards economics and like political economy and international relations. But the beauty of SSEES is that there's genuinely so much degree flexibility. Like some of my friends have studied Russian and Polish, leaned into like film and culture, and we've like there's just so many different options, and everybody does such different things. Like I think it really like came to light in our final years. Like for example, my dissertation's on like Russia's role in de-dollarization and the rise of the BRICS and the fall of US hegemony, which might be a lot of big words, but like some of my other friends are doing it on like the suppression of queer people in Poland. One of my friends is doing it on Orbán, the leader of Hungary, how he uses football to push his political agenda. There's just so many different things that you can do with this degree. And it's like the perfect course to figure out what you want to do, what you're interested in, what you're good at, and just take it further. And it's not very rigid or restricting. You can even do modules outside of SSEES. So there's a limit on it, of course. I have done quite a few modules outside of SSEES and met different people from different departments and learned a lot from them and other teachers as well. Speaking of teachers, the staff at SSEES are genuinely very supportive. Any teachers that you have, any teachers in the department, whether you're directly taught by them or not, you can book onto their office hours if you're interested in their research or their subject. Chat with them, they can offer you guidance. And on top of that, the career service is so good. It's how what helped me get the civil service internship and also a couple of internships that I did last year. UCL has a lot of good connections, a very good reputation. Like it's good for networking. People will come and specifically recruit from this university because of its reputation. Like I really enjoyed my time here and felt very supported. Made a lot of good friends, a lot of whom are on the year abroad now, which I would also really recommend, all across different countries and really enjoying it. Like the Erasmus community is really wonderful. So yeah, just no complaints. It's a very, very good course, very, very good department.